I don't know what the problem is with jump cuts.
Jump cuts are necessary when making videos, right?
I'd have to keep on starting over every time I screwed up. Right? And I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little bit bored of my sitting in front of the camera and doing it all in one take thing. Sorry about that, guys. I was a little bored. It happens. Sitting in front of my computer desk because reasons. And the windows are covered because reasons. And I'm scratching my neck because reasons. Anyways, a little bit of an update. The foot's okay. It's not doing too bad. I'm going to be on antibiotics for a while, and I have to take it easy because I tore a couple of muscles in the foot. And no, I didn't accidentally speed up the film. It just happens that I'm talking faster, and I don't know why, so I'm going to stop that right now. On another note, I did start filming some footage for a car video because I know, again, 2/3 of the people that subscribe to this channel are waiting for a car video. However, my foot really hurt. I was in a really pissy mood. It was like the only nice day we've had in 3 weeks, so I didn't even want to be in a car. And I kind of flubbed it, and that's my bad. Monday morning, I will go in early. I'll get there at like 9 o'clock in the morning, so I have all morning. And I'll film, rain or shine. Hopefully, if it'll just be overcast, but rain or shine, I'm going to do a video on a Chevy SS. So my buddy who has a shop in West Virginia, I called him up yesterday, and I wanted to ask him if he had anything for me. Now, I'm at that point, and as I said in the previous video, I don't want to buy extra stuff unless I absolutely have to in order to get a deal. So what I did was I went and saw him because he had 4 PlayStation 3s that he knew nothing about. He said he just took them all in as a group, bundle, buy, whatever. I think he buys like from stores that are going out of business or something. And an Xbox 360. And he always gives me a very nice deal on them. And I asked him, and I said, how much do you just want for all of them? I'll come get them in the morning. He said, make me an offer. I said, you know, the market's bottomed out, so I'll give you $40 for them all since you don't know if they work. And he's like, okay, sure. Now, I was willing to take that risk because there's lots of things that can go wrong with the system, and I have lots of extra parts laying around. So I figured if I can get 2 or 3 good systems out of it, I could easily get my money back. And what I was thinking about was I needed to put some fuel in my car, and currently fuel for my vehicle, and I only use premium in it because it runs best that way, is about $2.80 a gallon. So for me to fill up my tank runs me roughly $40, and I do that twice a week. So that adds up. If I can save money on fuel, I'm going to. So I drove up to his place and I picked up the systems. I already traded in one that worked. That was 160 gig. It just needed a little bit of cleaning. The optical drive was just filthy, so it would start reading games and then it would lock up. So I took it apart, took the cover off, blew it out, put it back together, and I got some decent change for that. I traded in that extra Kinect I had laying around and some games, as well as a PS3 controller that I didn't need anymore, and I got 90 bucks. So I got paid $50 to take all of his stuff. I got $75 in gas cards for $40. So I basically got almost an entire tank for free. And I still have some cool stuff. Now, 2 of the PlayStation 3 systems don't work. This one was a backwards compatible, but it's a little messed up inside. I have to figure out what it's doing. It isn't even turning on, so I think the power supply is bad, but I don't really care. This is just parts. It was a current gen or a slim model, not the current slim model, but it's got a good fan. I hooked up power to it and the fan comes on, but the system itself wasn't displaying anything, which is actually quite common. Let's see, which drive was this? I believe this one was for the big system, but I know how to change the motherboards on the optical drives on these, so I can change them between systems, so they come in handy. The 360 was just a regular model. It didn't have HDMI, but the case is in good shape, so I figure I can just paint up the case, maybe do something fun if I ever get around to it. I always say I'm going to, but I never have the time. But then I can sell on the case on eBay or something. So yeah, those are just good parts. But what I was left with were extra hard drives, because one was a 250 gig, one was a 160 gig. So I'll have to format those. This one is an 80 gig system. However, it was the only one that had the current update on it, and I just used it to make sure the system works. I can sideload the operating system back onto the bigger hard drive. I need to find a door. I think I've got an extra one laying around. Otherwise, it's not in terrible shape. This top came off of a different one, and I kind of had to booger this one together. It had a very common problem, and it's why I got it so cheap. He said, well, it's why it was in the bundle. He said it wouldn't update. Now, guys, when you try to update your system and it comes up with an error code that ends in 800F401E, I believe is the code, what that is saying is that the ribbon cable for the optical drive, the Blu-ray drive, is not attached correctly anymore. And I took the top off the system. It was already partially off. He claimed that somebody had dropped it, but I could tell as soon as I took the top off the system, somebody had tried to replace the ribbon cable and then they taped it in place. However, what they did was they taped it down, then tried to connect it to the optical drive, so they pulled it back out at an angle. That makes it not work. So the correct thing to do, guys, is number one, don't break your ZIF sockets. That's zero insertion port socket. They have a little tab that you pull up and push down. I just replaced it with one off of one of the other systems and it works fine. Yeah, so once I put the cable on there and tighten everything back down and put the case back together so that the mechanical retention holds the optical drive in place, this system now works perfect. Had to do a jump cut there. Unfortunately, I had a sneezing fit, and it takes up time, and it looks stupid because it's a sneezing fit. On to some pickups, and let me do an update to a couple of the pickups. And what that is I found the case to Big Thumpin' at work. Empty case, so yay, whatever. But more importantly, LA Noire. As you recall, I bought just the loose discs. Well, at work, I wound up finding the case in a drawer, and I actually had picked up another copy at the store near my work. Not the work where I work when I work at the work, but the other work when I'm working the other job that I work before I work the job that is my second job that I work when I'm not working the first job. I can't do that again. But anyways, they had this copy, and inside they had a few extra copies of the DLC code, so I took all of them because I'm going to try them and see if any of them are good anymore. But also it had the packaged film, which I believe is part of one of the missions. You can do it digitally in the game, or you have the actual physical ones. So now I have 2 complete copies of LA Noire, and I don't know why. It's very cheap, and it doesn't hurt to have an extra copy because you may damage a disc, you may lose a copy, you may borrow a copy to a friend that never returns it, or you know, you sleep with the guy's sister and he doesn't talk to you anymore. Anyway, Halo 4 disc 1 falls back into that whole sleeping with your best friend's sister thing. No, I'm just kidding. It's just an extra one we had laying around, and we can't sell just one disc. Rage Complete. I have to find a case for it. I used to have the case, but I think I gutted it when I needed another 3-disc case. I have BioShock Infinite, but it was an empty case, so I now have the sealed inserts for it. The limited collector's edition cover for Fable 2. I just haven't seen this while I've been out hunting it, so I had to pick it up. This game I've been meaning to play because I saw some reviews on it and some videos like from Watch Mojo and stuff. It's actually a pretty damn good game. Now, it says it's an intense and unique war shooter. It really isn't. Now, you can pause this or you can skip ahead, say 15 seconds, because I'm about to give a major spoiler. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, this game is basically Call of Duty Black Ops, where you spend the entire game completing missions and going after somebody, and it turns out that he doesn't exist. So I'm now going to wave my hands. Okay, if you didn't want the spoiler, you can listen now. There you go. I picked up another copy of Uncharted 2 because it was a not for resale sleeve, and I tore the other one. For 99 cents, I got Infamous Collection. I don't know if that means that this is the greatest hits or whatever they call it on PS3. And a funny looking game that I'd never seen before, and I just picked it up because it was in the drawer with the empty cases, but the game is in it and flawless, so I'm going to give it a playthrough. Hail to the Chimp. So this kind of leads me into something I've been thinking about doing, and maybe you guys can weigh in on it. I'm thinking about doing some Let's Plays, and not on mainstream titles like everybody does, but just basically on whatever the hell I feel like doing them on. You know, just weird stuff like that. Something that I'd never heard of. Let me know if you guys would watch that. Now on PlayStation 3, and it's a little less weird now that I'm buying PlayStation 3 Collector's Edition, since I now have a system again. And I know what you're saying, well, what the hell? Why didn't you have a system? Because PlayStation 3, for some reason, holds its value better than Xbox 360. Before it was a wonderment. Now I know why. It's because Microsoft is no longer supporting the 360. So there you go. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, the Collector's Edition. Yeah, I saw it, and it's another case like that Fable 2 where I just have never seen this case before. So I figured I'd pick it up. Now, I'm sure it's missing the sleeve, but I'm not too concerned about that because another copy may come up down the road, but at least I have this one now. I'm not one of those guys that's going to pass it up if I don't have it just because it might be missing one piece, because you may find it down the road. For example, the Dead Island Riptide that I bought, the Steelbook. I picked up the Steelbook without the box, and then I got the box, and I wound up getting it all for half the price of the full setup. So, there you go. Let's see, an Xbox 360 controller. Did I show you guys this? I don't know. I don't think so. The other one I showed you was a really grody one. This one just needs a good cleaning, and it'll be fine. A Nintendo DS Lite charger, as well as a Guitar Hero On Tour and On Tour Decades set. And inside this case is the controller, as well as the pick and a couple other accessories. So those are complete. A Naki World DS holder, and a couple of random game holders. So there you go. There we go. This is my first video with multiple jump cuts. Hopefully it doesn't look retardedly stupid. I know that I did a car video, or most of my car videos have jumps between interior, exterior, things like that. But I think this is the first one I've ever done that actually has more than like 2. So yeah, if you have any comments, leave them down below. Any questions, leave them down below. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. Don't unsubscribe if you're not subscribed, because that's like dividing by 0 and you will cause the internet to explode. And I don't think you want to be the guy who makes the internet explode. So until the next video, see ya.